Hello, this is Mukti and Ananda, and I am sharing with you outside of what we know as time and space, from an awareness, a consciousness, an identity that is eternal, from a world, a place that is eternal, where you and I reside, where we know and are known to one another as a preferred eternal identity who is creating in a co-creation the experience of dawning eternity, what many would call a heaven on earth. And I am the voice holding the keys I've been given to hold to awaken you at this time. I thank you for listening for today, this moment, informed outside of time, is a day and a moment in eternity when everything changed, when a new timeline was born in your reality. This timeline of the dawning eternity, where you have chosen your eternal identity and the world, the realities, the experiences you will enjoy. In our world on earth, this mortal world we see, many of us are awakening to truth, our consciousness unblinded, seeing the eternalness and perfection, that ever-perfecting love as our own being and ourselves as world creators, being driven by a desire to live in a world where there is no death, where the illusion of death has disappeared, and the remembrance in the focused attention on our eternal beingness. This day you stop the dreams and the desires contained within a mortal world, and you go to the expanded awareness of the opportunities of realities that display eternity, the truth of ever-perfecting love. You have come here because this is the moment when you see that all your desires thus far have been contained in a limited world, a world which has hidden your eternal nature available now, not post-death, not in some ascension path, but now, this eternal nature now. You can find it now just with your consciousness, in the quietness of your own being, the knowing that you are indeed eternal. It is a joy to be together. It is a joy to co-create. It is a joy to hear your visions of this dawning eternal world, to create new experiences of being, of relating, of even creating together outside the box of mortality, while holding mortality, so that we may slow this dawning and experience the great joy that comes from realizing in every experience we are whole, we are complete, we are ever perfecting love, and watching it unfold, directed by the mysterious intelligence that we are. And so now we will take questions from Ahli'ah, representative of all humanity.
Thank you. It's always quite a joy to be in your presence. You said a lot, as usual, and what really jumps out at me is the eternal now, to create these new experiences. And I guess that is really the question, right? And we're in both now. So I guess what inner command, or how do we move our frequency to shift out of the lower frequency, that lower loop of doubt, contraction, into Alarian, into the eternal state?
Yes, that is the question of the mortal identity, limited in the box, wanting to know how. The how is the who, and the who is the how. So, who are you identified with in your own being? This is the question in the moment. Are you identified with your eternal self, knowing that this is who you are, and allowing the thoughts that will arise from that self to be the focus of your attention? Or are you identified with this one you call limited, small? For you are all these identities. It's not one or the other. It's just where you're resting your attention, your light, on all that is, the frames of all that is. Where are you resting your attention? What are you living from? Who are you living from? As what? Doing what? With your reasons for being and creating, particular to that identity. But we are always all identities. And in every moment, all identities are available. All aspects of being, all that is right now available, just requires attention. Direction of your light, which is attention, to the screen, to the images, to the feelings, the knowing of identity. And it's the identity that creates experiences. What we have been doing in the world of mortality is manifestation in the world of mortality. What is happening now, what is available now to us, co-creating outside of time and space, I like to call that Alarian. What we are doing now is we are creating from this space, while still somewhat connected, aware of, identified with a mortal self, so that we can experience this dawning of eternity. We have a beginning and an ending. But those of us are choosing to live now as that eternal identity, with just a small point of awareness on the mortal identity. Just a little anchor, if you will. Being two identities at once. Focusing on two identities at once as the eternal identity holds more and more of our attention. We see more and more dawning of eternity And then we are not limited to the mortal worlds because we are not identified with the mortal identity. And a whole new world opens up to us, the world of our choosing from our eternal being, the world that we would create from this point of view, this perspective, this identity. And this is exciting to the mortal identity and to the mortal world.
It's always very powerful. There's many things that go through my mind when you're speaking. I guess the nature of time and linear reality, as we are both of these states of awareness at the same time. I guess from the eternal viewpoint, what is the true nature of time and linear reality? How can we step out of that more consciously, I guess is the question.
From the eternal nature, there are just, you can think of them as frames of experience. Stacking up those frames of experience creates a timeline, creates what feels like time, but is really just awareness hopping from a reality frame to a reality frame. You can think of time as an unfolding, a dawning. A dawning is time, right? It goes from a beginning to an end. We kind of frame that off and call that time, but really is an experience each moment of a new frame that we have arbitrarily designated as a timeline. We say this is the beginning and this is the end. That's what we've done with aging, from birth to death, the cycles of life. They're just frames put in a certain order, and we attach a story to those frames called time, called this is the way it is. This is the effects of time. So we decide what time is. We decide how many frames will make up a timeline. We decide all of this. And we decide this through our consciousness, how we are holding our attention and belief, how we are living from the identity and the desires of the chosen identity as an eternal being. We do the same thing as a mortal identity. The way that we experience life is the same. Our creation's the same. The difference is what we are experiencing is dependent on the identity we are resting in, we are seeing from. You can think of the identity as a pair of glasses that are colored to see the world a certain way. We hope that helps.
It does. I mean, I always have 100 questions when you speak, but I guess what is the most potent identity recalibration available right now for those who feel the call? I mean, how can we consciously choose and lock in to the eternal self identity so that everything just realigns?
The most potent identity is the one that the individualized divine expression is most drawn to. For that is the one you could think of that has the most drawing power. I would like to propose something unusual, though, for those maverick pioneers wishing to take a leap So radical, so different, so preposterous, so seemingly impossible and miraculous. And that is to begin instead with the identity, begin with the world. See if you can put your awareness on a world built on a foundation that you truly desire. We often begin from the identity. Actually, in the world of mortality, we often begin with the desire, not even thinking of the identity. And then as we expand our awareness and the possibilities of being a co-creator, then we begin to focus on identity. Who do we want to be? And then as we expand further and reside our awareness in eternity, we realize we are actually world creators. And in these worlds that we create contain within them identities that we may choose. And so the invitation is to contemplate, to let your mind and imagination explore a world that you would like to experience. A world not tethered by the current world, not defined by the current world, but perhaps informed by the current world experiences that you've had. And when you find this world, then begin exploring it and who you are in it. That would be my recommendation.
That is very powerful to contemplate, and I look forward to that.
Yep, well, we could go on.
It feels like, certainly for myself and maybe for others, that there are common identity constructs, or basically old self programs, that are still running for many awakened beings. And how can we use our awareness to
That is
dissolve them?
just an idea. You can believe it or not. You can make this easy by your thoughts or make it hard. All thoughts are available. I recommend that you identify with one who finds the identity total and complete with no work to do. That you sit in the awareness that right now I am the eternal identity, unlimited, perfect and whole, experiencing the unfolding of all my desires, fulfilling in the most wonderful, joyous ways. There's nothing to do, for I already am that which I have chosen. For I see it, I know it, I rest in it, so it is I.
I like that.
Well, of course, you can believe that there's much work to do, and there will be much work to do. For you are creating your world on the fly. My invitation is to expand your boundaries, to expand the canvas upon which you are creating.
Yes. And even with the body and with time, we can just hold higher frequencies.
This idea of holding higher frequencies, lower frequencies, sure, that can be a fun game, but it's not necessary. I think people are getting all discombobulated, trying to figure out what frequency they are resonating as. Of course, there are frequencies, there's sound, there's all kinds of things, but it's the most easiest, less confusing way to put your attention on the world that you wish to reside in, which is simply a moment, a frame in a world. You don't have to envision all and everything of that world. Just a slice, just as you live right now in the slices of the world that you believe yourself to be in. You can do the same of a preferred and chosen world, a world where there is only life and life more abundant. where people are awake to who they are, where the earth itself is awake to its eternal nature, and it is unfolding that in a dance with all the beings who reside in that world. You may have an image of an entirely different world, what you might call an alien world. Many of our movies come from that, like Avatar, Matrix. These are worlds. These are worlds you've chosen to visit through the vehicle of a movie rather than an embodiment. But they are worlds. They are experiences to be had. Does that make sense?
It does. It's very profound. It's a lot of responsibility where your awareness resides. And it's also very simple. Once the identity has shifted, because I feel pieces of that film strip, it's very clear to me when I'm in that state. But when that shift happens, is there a moment-to-moment awareness or a command, something that anchors that state, the eternal self?
Every time you say I am is an opportunity to remember who you are, who you're choosing to be. That's the anchor. I am. We say I am thousands of times a day in our mind, with our voice, in our actions, in the choices we make. The I am is being stated. So I recommend anchoring to that.
Right. Well, I guess it's a tuning fork state of being, and it's very powerful when it shifts, but the world itself.
You are doing the shifting. It doesn't shift by itself. It's not some event that is outside of your control. It is you who have done the shift.
Right. I guess the question then is the old patterns, the old tuning fork.
There are no old patterns. There's only now. What are you being now? And if a now moment you want to choose another identity, then choose it. And that, I recommend, should be the only story. Mm-hmm. Or you will be in the story of becoming rather than dawning. Dawning is I already have, I'm revealing who I am. Becoming is I don't have, I have to do all these things to get. Two different things. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
It does.
All right.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is the old tuning fork, the world that is reflecting back an old pattern. Why does that persist even when one...
It does because you're focused on why is it persisting. That's keeping it in place. Better to just see that as one experience that is an option. No, neither pushing it away, because it'll always exist, you understand? Every world, every reality, every frame will always exist. So if you try to push that away or change it in any way, you keep it in place. Because why? Because your attention is on it. Whatever our attention is resting in, we enliven with our light. That is the frame we are illuminating. If your attention is rested on and perceiving that old patterns are still running, guess what the next moment will be?
Old patterns running.
And then the next. It'll continue as you focus on that. So you can simply notice that the old identity is present and choose again. Every moment is new. With every moment comes a history and a future, a new timeline every moment. It just looks like we're living a consistent same moment over and over and over with these things you call patterns, only because your attention has made them so. These are patterns. All of this was constructed, a construction of awareness, if you will, to keep you in a limited reality, in a limited world. As you rest in your eternity, you will see that those are constructed ideas to keep you limited, to keep you in the cycle, the loop. They were done on purpose, but now from an eternal state, resting as that identity with limitless abilities in the moment to be whoever you want to be, to create whatever you want to create. Patterns become meaningless. It's just frames that you simply move your attention off to put on something else. That's it.
Thank you. I mean, it's very exhilarating. And, as you've always said many times, the who is the how, identity is destiny.
I would add the what, because rather than the hows, which many people, many beings struggle with, they spend their lives on the hows. Put your attention on the who and the what.
Right.
I would add the where.
Right.
And these are things we don't normally put our attention on. And why the loop of mortal life seems so certain. When you start questioning the who and the what and the where being what world are you in? All of that certainty begins to unravel. And you can now rest in a world that is untethered to the world of death. All right, I think that is good for now. Is there anything that you'd like to go over that we've already discussed to further elaborate on?
Since you ask, yes, the who is the what. I always see this shift. Tara is always the supreme example in my mind of instantly shifting from the limited self to the eternal self. And I'm wondering, in this dawning, is that what it's going to look like, where people are just permanently shift?
There'll be all kinds of experiences depending on the individualized being's preference. Some will experience it instantly, some will experience it gradually. It really depends on how consistently and firmly, with certainty, that you can rest in the identity of that divine being, that unlimited being, that perfected being. I know for myself as Mukti and I that I am a limited being, and I hold within my consciousness my mortal identity and the mortal worlds for now, because I wish to experience the dawning, the joy and the wonder from all waking up to its eternal nature out of the nightmare of the world of death. The glee, the happiness, the tears, the celebration. So for Mukti and I, there will be some unfolding. For others who prefer instant, from this to that, it'll be a moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you all for listening.